Mrs. Young's math class, 6th grade math. This is your first guided notes video. So make sure you have a pencil and that you are following along with the notes so you can get credit before you begin your practice problems and mastery check. So put your name on your paper to begin. I'm going to be typing in the information, so hopefully you can kind of follow along and see how it goes. So I might start by putting my name. I'm going to put Mrs. Young. Okay. When students enter the classroom, they need to blank and follow the directions on the board. So this is where you are going to write on your paper. So what I would put, I'm going to delete these lines. They need to first look, there's going to be a chair near the door. So you're going to grab your lesson notes paper, which will be on the chair, and sit at your assigned seat or seat, depending on if it's assigned or not. And to follow the directions on the board. The directions on the board will often have like a math starter to start doing right away. There will always be something for you to do right away. So as soon as you come to class, make sure you get going. So you grab the lesson notes paper and you sit at your seat. Okay, we're not wandering around. Okay, students learn self-paced structure. Students learn at their own pace. So right here, you're going to write pace. This is the part that you don't have. Students learn at their own pace. So maybe some people go through the lesson video quickly, or some people go through it slowly, pause, rewind if they miss something, or they just keep going, whatever pace they need to so they can understand. It is not about who does it the fastest. It's about always demonstrating that you understand. So mastery-based grading. So for a student self-paced classroom, students progress when they demonstrate, this is where you're going to write, when they demonstrate mastery of the lesson through something called a mastery check. The mastery check is always going to be the last thing that you do. So you demonstrate that you understand the lesson by doing a mastery check. Okay, so it's kind of like a little quiz at the end of the lesson just to make sure you understood what was going on. Okay, each lesson, when you have a lesson coming into my class, there's going to be 3 parts to it. So I'm going to start with part 1. So part 1 is a guided notes with a video. Okay, this is like what you are doing currently. You are watching this video and you are writing the notes down on your paper. Okay, the second part will be practice problems. So after you have taken notes and learned the lesson, you do some practice problems to help you practice. Usually it's the math. Okay, so maybe you're doing fractions, you're adding fractions. So then you start doing some practice problems, which are kind of like homework assignments, where you practice adding fractions. And then once you've done the practice problems, then you do a mastery check. And remember, the mastery check is kind of like a little quiz that you take to show me that you understand that lesson. And mastery checks you have to do in class. Okay, so when you come to class, there are things that you must do, things that you always have to do. It's absolutely required of every single person. So first of all, always come with the previous lesson completed. So I'm going to just say with previous lesson completed. Meaning every day we start a new lesson and I don't want you to be behind. So if you didn't finish your guided notes, practice problems, or mastery check of the last day's lesson, then you're not going to be ready for this next day's lesson. So make sure you come to class prepared. So must-dos also each day include the notes for the lesson. So which is like what you are doing right now. Sometimes called guided notes. Practice problems, and mastery check. So just those 3 things from over there. So must-dos, you have to do practice problems, you have to do your notes, and you have to do your mastery check. Okay? So you have to do those 3 things, just like over here. So now moving down to should do's. So should do's looks like a little different than must do's because you don't have to do the should do's unless you finished your must do's. And if you don't get to the should do's, then that means that's okay. You just work at your own pace. So should do's on your paper should be called fast finishers. So things you do if you finish your 3 items quickly. So these are important too because they help you to better understand the lesson. Help you better understand the lesson. These can happen after a lesson. So a lot of times fast finishers happen after you finish a lesson, maybe quicker than other people in the class, or at the end of the unit. So there's always going to be tasks for you to do if you finish what you must do each day. And these are called fast finishers. Sometimes these could be IXL, which is practicing on your computer. Sometimes these could be working on an extended assignment just to extend your learning and help you better understand the lessons, okay? And like deepen your understanding. Okay, going back to our 3 parts of our lesson. So step 1, your guided notes / video, which is what you are doing right now. All videos and lesson content sorry, there shouldn't be an and there, can be found on Mrs. Young's Canvas page. So right here, you're going to write on Mrs. Young's Canvas, either on her homepage, on my homepage, or under modules on Canvas. But regardless, it's on Canvas. Okay? The purpose of guided notes. So what you are doing right now is guided notes. So there's a purpose to it. It's not just busy work. So there's a purpose. Let's write down. So to first improve your study skills, which will help your academic performance. You can write this in your own way, but when you follow the video and follow along with your notes, it's going to improve your ability to study, meaning your ability to be able to understand what you are learning, okay? And it will help your academic performance, meaning your grades or how you perform on tests. So guided notes are supposed to help you with that. Okay, moving on to step 2. So after you do your guided notes in the video, you begin your practice problems. And these can also be found on Canvas. I will sometimes print a paper for you to do as well, but they'll always be on Mrs. Young's Canvas, again on her homepage or under modules, just like everything. Everything can be found on Canvas. If you are ever absent, please go on Canvas and see what you missed, and you can do all of the things you need to.
Staff, just a heads up, the generator is going to be tested, so we're going to lose power for a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Okay. You must get an assignment score of 80% on your practice problems before you can move on to the mastery check. Okay, step 3, mastery check. When do you take a mastery check? And you're going to write in after your guided notes and practice problems. Okay, so you have to finish those things before you can move on. Okay, where do you take a mastery check? It must be in Mrs. Young's classroom. Okay, so make sure you are in class doing it. If you missed it, you can come in during I time or other times to take it. What happens when you are not successful on your mastery check? So you must redo it until you can show understanding of 80% or more. So if you don't get a good score on it, rewatch the video, go over your practice problems, because if you do that, you should be able to do just fine on your mastery check. Okay. But you are responsible for retaking your mastery check and asking me for an attempt to retake it. Okay, last thing. What happens when you are successful on a mastery check? So what happens is you can begin your fast finishers and then begin, well, I'll just say you can begin your fast finishers. Okay, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully this helped. Have a great day. Adios.